Finding the one isn't always as simple as it seems, especially when it comes to wedding dresses. I recently said yes to the Grace Loves Lace Gigi dress, thinking that it was perfect. But just a few days later, everything changed. Today, I'm sharing why I ended up returning my very first wedding dress and how I finally found the gown that felt right for me. I also wanted to share 10 tips that I just wish I knew before making that big purchase. All right, so let's get into the story of why I returned my dress. After visiting 5 bridal boutiques, I had narrowed it down to 2 dresses. The first one is from Grace Loves Lace and it's called the Gigi dress, and the second is from Ferre Sposa by the designer Paloma Blanca. Ultimately, I chose the Gigi dress because I absolutely loved the lace details, the detailed train, and its unique floral embellishments. I just loved how it complemented my floral tattoos really well, and the back was so flattering. At the time, I felt like it was truly the one. Fast forward to a few days later, while mindlessly scrolling through my phone out of boredom, I saw an entirely different dress that I briefly tried on at Ferre Sposa. It was actually one of the first few dresses that I tried on at that store, and it was the Enzoni Reese dress. What's funny is that this wasn't even a top contender initially. I literally just overlooked it entirely. After seeing a couple of photos and videos of me wearing it, I was slowly convinced that this might have been the dress, and I started frantically comparing pictures of this dress with the other dress that I had just purchased. The more I compared the 2 dresses, the more I realized how much I loved the Reese dress's front design, the neckline, and overall silhouette more than the Gigi dress. I also thought this new dress translated better in photos, especially at the front, which I realized was a big priority for me. While the Gigi dress had an incredible train, I felt like I was drawn more to its back area than the overall look. So I wanted a dress that I loved from every angle, and the Reese dress gave me that. Thankfully, Grace Loves Lace offers a 7-day full refund, which I was able to use to return the dress and go back to Ferre Sposa. If I had waited any longer, I would have had to forfeit $300, and if it was past 30 days, then it would have just been non-refundable. So I was lucky that this flexibility gave me the chance to reflect and make the decision that was right for me. Changing my mind so quick like that was not easy, but it taught me so much about wedding dress shopping, especially as a first-time buyer. So here are 10 tips I learned along the way that I hope can help you find the perfect dress for you too. Tip number 1, decide what you want the focus to be. One of the best pieces of advice I recently got from a friend was to ask, do I want the focus to be on me or the dress? Initially, I chose the Grace Loves Lace dress because of its unique and beautiful train, and I thought a more subtle design would ensure the dress didn't overshadow me. But over time, I realized that I actually wanted a dress that would wow both me and others while still enhancing me as the bride. And this led me picking the Reese dress over the Gigi dress because I find that this dress strikes the perfect balance. It's stunning enough to make a statement, but not so much that it takes attention away from me. Tip number 2, be clear on what you value most. Think about whether you value the front, the back, or the overall balance of the dress. For example, with the Grace Loves Lace dress, I realized that I was more in love with the backside of the dress, like the train, rather than the entire gown. The Reese dress, however, had the perfect front design, neckline, and silhouette that I felt confident in from all angles. It just ticked all the boxes that I was looking for in a dress, and I knew that this dress would photograph a lot better than the Gigi dress. And that last sentence brings me to tip number 3, which is to consider how the dress photographs. A dress that looks stunning in person might not always translate well in photos and videos. I learned that the hard way. For example, I absolutely loved a dress that I tried on at Superior Bridal. It had subtle sparkles and a beautiful boucle material. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that word right, and I don't even know if that's what the material is called, but it's like a very textured, bumpy kind of material. But in photos, the texture looked flat and crater-like the little bumps were giving acne. And on top of that, the sparkles didn't even show through pictures. So just be mindful of that before you fall in love with the dress in person. And this tip relates to tip number 4, which is to take videos and photos of all angles of each dress. I highly recommend you to ask either your stylist or a bridesmaid that can assist in capturing these angles. Make sure to walk, sit, and move in the dress to see how it flows and feels. Personally, watching videos of me in the dresses helped me see details I missed in the moment. There were so many moments when I tried on dresses and thought, oh my god, this is the dress. But later, after like a day or two reviewing the photos and videos of that dress, I was not impressed anymore. Seeing how the dress translates after the excitement of the appointment wore off gave me a clear perspective on whether it was truly the one. Which leads me into the next tip, which is to take the necessary time to reflect after each appointment. Don't feel pressured to make a decision on the spot. I know that's really obvious, but it happened to me somehow still, so please learn from my mistake. Looking back at footage days later, even weeks later, gave me the clarity I needed to make the right choice. In my scenario, I definitely was not expecting to return the dress because at the time, I felt so confident in it. If I had taken the time to review all the dresses that I tried on, even the ones where I initially wasn't a huge fan of, rather than pulling the trigger and immediately buying this dress, I wouldn't have been in this mess. If you are in a similar position as me, where you're very limited in time and can't properly reflect, give yourself at least a full week to fully review all the dresses side by side, make a collage or something if you have to, and you can even gather a small group of your friends and family to help weigh out the pros and cons of each dress. It's better to do all these steps rather than making an immediate decision. Tip number 6 is to be wary of stylist pressure. Some stylists may unintentionally influence your decision. I'll be honest and say that I felt very pressured by the Grace Loves Lace stylist. I don't blame her entirely because it is her job. She is a salesperson trying to sell the dress to me at the end of the day, but it's just something to be mindful of. Take your time and don't feel rushed. Leave the shop and sleep on it if you're unsure. Tip number 7, trust your gut over external opinions. This one can be really hard. Friends' opinions can be helpful, but trust your gut at the end of the day. 2 of my closest friends actually disagreed with me and didn't think I should have returned the first dress, but 4 of my other friends had supported my decision. Deep down, I seriously could not stop thinking about the new dress, so I decided to go with my gut and I couldn't be happier with my decision. Tip number 8, understand refund policies. Always be clear on refund policies before you commit to a dress. Not every shop offers a full refund window like Grace Loves Lace, and some even require non-refundable deposits. Knowing this upfront can save you stress if you change your mind later. Tip number 9, be open to stepping away from your Pinterest board. In my Pinterest board, I had a lot of wedding dresses that had a satin or crepe-like material, but it turns out that the lace material ended up looking the most flattering on me. And since I really wanted a long sleeve dress, I found that lace sleeves just worked better. So it's really important to be open-minded and to try on different materials and styles. And doing this will really help narrow down your choices. And lastly, don't be afraid to change your mind. If you realize you made the wrong decision, it's completely okay to course correct. I remember returning my dress felt so daunting and very stressful, but at the end of the day, I'm so happy and grateful that I did that because now I feel like I have no regrets. At the end of the day, choosing your wedding dress is such a personal journey. I learned that it's okay to change your mind or steer away from what you initially thought you wanted. For me, trusting my gut and reflecting on what truly mattered to me led me to the perfect dress. So I hope these tips help you find yours too. If you're in the middle of your wedding dress journey, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story and your journey in finding your perfect dress. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to follow the rest of my wedding planning journey. Take care and I'll see you in the next video.